What's going on, YouTube? Back again with another episode of the Fantasy Blitz Show. It's your boy Frankie J, and we're gonna go and try to do something new here. We're gonna give you some starts and sits for week 3. I'm probably gonna give you 2 starts, 2 sits of each position, maybe more depending on how long this gets. But let's go take a look at my starts and sits. So for quarterback, I have Derek Carr. I have him as a start versus Tennessee. Now, in the last 2 games, he's had 250 plus yards in those last 2 games with at least 2 touchdowns in both of them. So I feel like against Tennessee's defense, who didn't look so great the other week, I feel like he can bounce back and keep those same numbers up. Now, they are 0-2, so he might be coming back with a vengeance to make sure they're not down 0-3. So I feel like that's going to be a big game for Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. For any of you guys who do have him, definitely those 2 you should definitely start. And both those games they lost in 0-2, they were relatively close games, actually. Yeah, you can't say relatively, they were close games. Granted, they choked last week against Arizona, but at the end of the day, I don't think they have problems putting up points. They just have a problem maintaining the lead. So for my second QB start, I got Joe Flacco, my boy, Jets, Jets. So my man, in each of those games, 2 games he's played, he threw over 300 yards in both of those games. All right, so as of right now, the man has 5 touchdowns on the season, and there's only 2 weeks into the season. Now, Cincinnati's team as a whole hasn't been looking good. I'm hoping the Jets defense actually can do something to rattle Joe Burrow, because that offensive line they spent so much money on that it doesn't even look like it's going to pan out unless they just need some time to gel together. I think that game, the Jets versus Cincinnati Bengals, is actually going to be possibly a shootout of a game. So right now, looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook, they got the over-under at 44.5. I think I might just take the over on that because I think that game might be a shootout. Then let's go to our running back starts. We got Austin Eckler. Now, bearing on that Herbert injury, we might see a lot of dump-offs. Even if Herbert does play, I don't think he's going to be able to sling the rock as well as he has with those ribs hurt. But that means a lot more dump-offs to Austin Eckler. Even if it's not Herbert, they'll put in Chase Daniels. More of a reason why I feel like Austin Eckler is due for a huge game. And against the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's a very likable matchup. So definitely start Austin Eckler. For my second RB to start, I got Joe Mixon. Now, it's going to go against my team, obviously, the Jets. But the one thing that we are known for right now is allowing too many rushing yards to running backs. So I feel like Mixon is due for a big game himself. We got to see if we can slow him down, especially if we can't slow Burrow down. If we can't slow either of those down, we are probably not coming out with the W this week. So expect a big game from Joe Mixon. Definitely a start this week. Now for our wide receiver starts, I got Now for our wide receiver starts, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. That boy is literally the wide receiver king. I think he might do better than Chase this season, maybe even better than Justin Jefferson this season. But we'll see. It's still early. I think he has potential to be top 3 wide receiver again this week. He's been averaging 25.8 fantasy points per game. Once again, small sample size with only being 2 weeks, but Joe Burrow likes him, and Amon-Ra is always open, definitely making a lot of yards after contact. So definitely start Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. For my second wide receiver starting, I got Garrett Wilson, my boy. All right, I know y'all going to probably say, oh, you being biased by choosing all your Jets to play this week, to start this week. Don't get it wrong. I did say start Mixon, and I'm not gonna lie, I would probably start Chase this week too. But Garrett Wilson definitely on my list. He finished wide receiver 6 last week. Still assuming that game going to be a shootout. He's got the volume. With week 1, he was targeted 8 times versus his week 2 target volume, which was 14. So, they're definitely looking for him. So, definitely start Garrett Wilson. For tight ends, we got Gerald Everett. I got to start him. Wow. And for tight end, we got Gerald Everett versus Jacksonville. That's a real good matchup for LA Chargers. Regardless of who's in that quarterback, either it's Herbert Hurts or Chase Daniels. But that matchup is too good to pass up on. I would probably be starting all Los Angeles Chargers this week. For our second tight end to start this week would be Travis Kelce. We already know who that man is versus Indy's defense that looks a little shaky, which I had predicted that they would be top 5 this season. It's not looking too good for that. And Kelce had a great week 1. Week 2, not so much. Look for another bounce back week for Travis Kelce. Definitely plug him in this week. Now for our sit category. So for our QBs that we're going to sit this week, it's going to be Carson Wentz. It's more about the matchup, honestly. He's been playing great, but Philly's defense looks good. It is a divisional game. You know how those games always are a toss-up, especially with Washington and Philly. Is this a revenge game for Carson Wentz? Yeah, but is he going to do well? I don't see it. I literally don't see it. I think his hot streak ends literally this game. So I am definitely sitting Carson Wentz. Another sit at QB, I have Aaron Rodgers. I know, that sounds a little crazy, but Tampa Bay's defense is stacked. They've had 10 let's see, what is it again? 10 sacks this season, all right? They've already had 10 sacks. Aaron Rodgers, in the 2 games he's played, been sacked 7 times. Now, what does that tell you? If that offensive line isn't holding up, he's going to add more sacks to that boy. And hopefully that doesn't, have Aaron Rodgers hurt. So be on the lookout for that. But I definitely would sit Aaron Rodgers. If you have to play him, I get it because he may be your QB1. But I'm predicting like under 18 fantasy points this week. So that's why I'm benching Aaron Rodgers. For the running backs, the running back I have to sit this week is going to be James Robinson. It's more of the matchup. LA Chargers defense is just crazy good. They haven't allowed much rushing yards to any opposing running back, so I don't like the matchup for James Robinson. Some people might, but I think ETN might have a better game this week against the Chargers. They may have to throw it a lot, and we know ETN is already part of that passing offense, so I'm definitely sitting James Robinson. Another running back I'm sitting is going to be Chase Edmonds. He's got a horrible matchup against Buffalo. Once again, divisional game, so it's going to be up in the air, but the game script is going to be out of his favor. They're going to go down, and Tua's going to have to do what he did last week and throw the hell out of the ball. Is he going to succeed? With that, I can't say, but for me, I was high on Chase Edmonds all off season, and so far he's been a bust for me. So it's hurting me to say that because I was heavy on him. I probably have him like 3 leagues, but I'm definitely sitting Chase Edmonds this week. At wide receivers, I got DJ Moore. I'm sitting him this week. He's got a disgusting matchup. New Orleans defense, pretty fucking good. Baker Mayfield, not so fucking good. So I feel like DJ Moore on that offense doesn't look good at all. Even CMC hasn't been doing great. So I don't see DJ Moore doing all that well. I mean, he did have a touchdown last week, but that was pretty much it. He hasn't been productive and only had 43 yards each game. So, if it wasn't for that touchdown, he would have had a bad week again, week 2. So that's why I'm benching DJ Moore. Another wide receiver I'm benching is going to be Scary Terry McLaurin. Now, it goes basically as I said with Carson Wentz. It's going to be a revenge game, but is he going to play well? I doubt it. Jahan Dotson is definitely the truth. That man is nice. So I see, maybe Darius Slay shadowing Terry, so making sure Scary Terry don't do much, and Jahan Dotson is the one who's going to be catching most of the volume work. We'll see how that goes, but I can't get behind Scary Terry this week with Philly coming into town and Carson Wentz looking like he might choke. Maybe some garbage time points for Terry, definitely for Jahan Dotson, but with Darius Slay there, who looked great last week, I might have to. I'm definitely benching Scary Terry this week. For tight ends, I got Mike Gesicki against Buffalo. Game script might actually work for Gesicki, but if they're down bad, Gesicki did have a touchdown last week. He had 12 fantasy points or something like that. Maybe he'll be good, but that Buffalo defense, man, that's scary. I definitely have to bench Gesicki this week. And for my last tight end to sit is going to be T.J. Hawkinson. Those wide receivers over there are too good. I like DJ Chark. Obviously, I'm a fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown. DJ Chark didn't do shit last week, but I don't see that happening again. Week 1 he did good, so I don't see that happening again. He hasn't been productive even with his 7 targets each game. So, he has 7 targets and not making much of them. So, definitely going to have to sit T.J. Hawkinson. And that's all I got for y'all for our starts and sits of week 3. Hope y'all appreciate the content. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And as always, it's your boy Frankie J, Fantasy Blitz Show. We out. Peace.